And that is how you stop a cat scratching your testicles.
Okay, what does that have to do with Akuma versus Shao Kahn again?
John, have you ever been in a conversation with Keir? Like, this is essentially my life. Okay? I've been friends with this guy for half a decade.
You're welcome.
Speaking of welcoming, guess who's back?
Oh, hey, Billy.
Hi, Bill.
So, you guys did alright with the last few podcasts about me, but there's a few issues I had. Naming something to do with some certain jokes and jabs you took at me.
That's actually a lovely little intro. Better than what Billy gives. Not gonna lie. Oh, those.
Yeah, those.
No hard feelings, right?
Nah, there's no hard feelings at all. And, just to show my good graces, I decided to give you all a gift.
Oh. That's nice for you.
Yay! So where is
Explain
it?
what that was.
Oh, no, you see, May and Sean, your gifts is what is inside Keir's box.
Okay, what is in this damn?
And boop!
Oh shit!
Keir? You okay?
Bill? What was that?
Oh, I was just showing my good side. The side of me that, when I'm happy, I only give someone a bomb. But if I get angry, well, let's just say it's 10 times worse. So we good?
Wait. Bill, how'd you get your hands on that?
Oh, I had someone. Today's meme of the day of Lads Discuss Death Battle is called Stop Mum and Dad.
It works too well.
It's just perfect.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Thank you to Twitter user at Insane Yang for making this meme of the day.
Also,
Of course.
Marvel, Sony, release the trailer, you cowards!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Lads Discuss Death Battle. With us, as always, is your Matt.
Guys, I think there's a storm coming.
Well said. And the next person, the editor, as well as the shit talker of me, Sean.
Hey, I conquered my deficit in our bet. Don't give me hate.
That is true. I guess that's kind of a spoiler to who won, but if you haven't seen the Death Battle at this point, that's on you. And joining with us is an old member of Lads Discuss Death Battle. It is the Jedi Bender, the Richard Core Kenobi, as he's known now as Saber King. Unless he's got another name.
These puns are the reason I left.
Hey, how'd you even get in here?
I have my ways.
He's got a Buzz Lightyear profile picture. He probably flew in.
That
did.
explains the hole in the wall.
I'll patch it up
No, you won't.
later.
You still haven't patched up the other one you left. So,
Because you never paid me.
what's
Hey,
paying?
you two can fight about that later. We got a death battle to discuss.
Yes, so we are going to be talking about...
Yeah, and that being
go ahead, mate.
Akuma versus Shao Kahn. There we go.
Oh boy!
And
I was lied to. I told this was gonna be Shao Kahn versus M. Bison 2, Electric Boogaloo.
the potential. As well as we're going to talk about the next time, which Richard has, I'm sure, quite a lot to say about that. And we got a
Yay.
third topic, which we haven't had in a while, I think.
Nah, because we weren't sure what to do.
Well, fair enough. So, Akuma versus Shao Kahn. Richie, okay? You sound like you were cutting out there.
Yeah, I'm alright.
It sounded like you were talking in alien dialect.
Oh boy.
He's like, I've infiltrated Lads Discuss Death Battle again. What must I do, my leader?
He's just talking to Proboscis. He's on the, like, that freaking knee pad communicator thing that Vader and Sidious use.
Oh, God.
He's like, what is thy bidding, my master? And it's just Proboscis and Z-Dog.
Oh, God. So, Lads Discuss Death Battle, and we're going to talk about Akuma versus Shao Kahn, which me, May, and Sean pretty much all collectively agreed when it was revealed Akuma was returning. It has to be Shao Kahn. Like, we couldn't think of a more fitting character to be in the 10-year celebration of Death Battle than bringing one of the most oldest rivalries on the show, Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. And of course, it has to be the most powerful Mortal Kombat character versus the somewhat most powerful Street Fighter character. That's still up to debate, apparently. But
Apparently.
Yeah, and it was like a championship round because, like, okay, so Akuma beat Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn beat M. Bison.
Fight
let's
each
do
other.
this. Yeah.
Yep.
And we also kind of agreed Akuma versus Shang Tsung. Honestly, nah, it was a season 1 episode, so they mostly went with matchups that at the time was the most debated, and apparently it was Shang Tsung versus Akuma, which I'm not sure how I feel about
That's
that.
so weird to me.
Yeah, like, I can understand it feels like but the thing about Akuma is he was mainly a secret boss, unless you got, like, certain victories, perfects, and then you would fight Akuma. Most of the time you'd fight M. Bison, whereas Shang Tsung you just had to defeat everyone and then you eventually fight him. In a way, it probably would have made...
Interesting.
In a way, it probably would have made more sense if Reptile fought Akuma at that point, because...
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Reptile was a secret boss in the first game.
Nah, if Reptile's getting in, he's fighting Riptor from Killer Instinct.
Foreshadowing. Anyway, so what did I think about this matchup? Well, spoiler alerts, people. I was once I heard about a lot of things that Shao Kahn could do, especially after watching Robust Cast, I was like, I really screwed the pooch on this bet.
How do you think I felt last time?
I know
Or
Sean's
anytime.
playing.
Well, you know what's funny? If Sean went with Dio like the rest of us, he'd be winning the bet.
That is true. Yeah.
Technically, yes.
Yeah.
And
Also, another funny thing, this was the second risk I took, and it worked out, much like how Bill's second risk of going with Kool-Aid Man worked out for him.
I didn't actually take a risk on that. I generally thought Kool-Aid Man sounded more impressive, and I was right.
Everyone else picked Macho Man. It was a risk. Trust me.
I feel like the reason more
He's
people
not wrong.
went for Macho Man is
Yeah.
because he was a real life person, and hoping he would lose the fight to the death would kind of seem a bit cold. That's why I think the majority voted for Macho Man. At least the people we know.
Maybe.
And
We can talk about that episode overall when we get to it.
the bit that I knew that I lost at was when it showed that Shao Kahn can keep up with people who can move at the speed of light, and he can dodge laser beams that are fired from above the earth. I was like, yeah, Akuma's never shown that type of speed. So I was really hoping maybe the Raging Demon, especially in the Oni or Shin Akuma form, which I'm surprised they went with Shin Akuma, because that meteor feat they gave Akuma is actually non-canon to the Street Fighter story. But in a way, though, I guess it wouldn't have mattered then, as they went with the more canon Akuma, then he gets screwed even more. But
Yeah.
I also want to throw this out there. A lot of people were debating, oh, would the Raging Demon actually work? But in this episode, they said, well, yeah, it would. Like, it would murder Shao Kahn if he landed it.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure one of the biggest arguments was Kahn has soul hacks. But I think we brought this up that, you know, does the logic still apply that Akuma could destroy all Shang Tsung's souls? And we all agreed that that logic still applied.
Yeah, given how the Raging Demon actually works, like, using the weight of the victim's sins against them to destroy their soul, Shao Kahn's racked up more than enough.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of like the similar case of when how Scorpion managed to avoid it, is that he has ways to avoid said attack, and one, he's much faster than Akuma, so if Akuma can't land that hit, then there's not really much you can do there. And I guess it kind of makes sense as well to an extent to not just rely on one thing. We've said this about every single death battle that's come from the past. Just because a character could specifically win in this way doesn't mean this is how they'll always win. So I do kind of like they explain more, like, okay, that could kill him, but could Akuma land it more times than Shao Kahn has ways to avoid Akuma? I also kind of liked as well that they straight up pointed out that no, Shao Kahn can't just absorb Akuma's soul, which is kind of always his final trump card. It's like, no, Akuma's resisted such an attack from another character. So it kind of...
the amount of people I saw say that, like, oh yeah, that would do Akuma in, but then Keir brings up, you know, there's a guy in the Street Fighter universe who does exactly that, tried it to Akuma, and, well, it didn't work out for him, did it?
Honestly,
If I was wondering, the guy's name is Nikali.
Yeah, that guy.
it's kind of funny to think about, because when Keir said that, I was certain, like, oh yeah, Akuma's got this, he's got this, man. And then it revealed all the crazy shit that Shao Kahn could do, like, holy crap, I didn't realise how much power it actually took to merge the realms. And they also this is something I
So
think,
basically, Mortal Kombat got a buff in Death Battle.
well, not just in Death
Yeah.
Battle, I guess in, like, this is also the original timeline they mainly went with, not the rebooted universe, because Shao Kahn never showed any of those feats, because he got defeated before he could. But they also went with it's kind of funny to think about how the original story of Mortal Kombat, Shao Kahn canonically won, and it literally took reverse in time to stop him. So I definitely felt like
Yeah.
I definitely think I didn't give Shao Kahn as much credit as I gave Akuma.
And then the good guys managed to win, and then the villains decide to go back in time and stop that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this is how Mortal Kombat's going these days.
Welcome to Mortal Kombat, where things get fucking crazy.
Welcome to Mortal Kombat, where Ed Boon just stopped trying.
Oh no, he puts a lot of effort into the games.
Never-ending reboots.
It's just the writers always just want to reboot the new timelines. So
Who do they think they are? DC Comics?
exactly.
They work for Warner Brothers, so technically, yeah.
That's true.
Now, as terms of the fight,
will
So I
say-
can't help but notice we're not even talking about the fight.
Oh,
That-
I wanted to point out something I really enjoyed in one of the analyses, real quick if I could.
and I want to
Oh,
quickly
yeah?
point out I was literally segueing into the fight, and then you commented that I wasn't talking about the fight.
I said we weren't, not just you.
That's beside the
Um,
point.
I know something. One of my favorite parts of this analysis as a whole was just Shao Kahn, like, embarrassing Boomstick over his jokes. Like, I thought that was hilarious.
That was pretty good.
See, I thought that was funny at first, but when you think about it, isn't it kind of weird? Because Shao Kahn's not like a fourth wall breaking character, so...
Don't ruin
No,
that
but
joke,
he's
man.
an announcer. Yeah, technically he is a fourth wall breaking character because he's announcing the games. In the first 3 games, he's the announcer.
That is true. So,
Alright, that's all I wanted to point out about the analysis, since Bill really wants to get into the fight aspect of this.
yes. And I have to say, with all of the emotions I'm going right now, this episode was hands down, it was alright. I don't hate it, but do I think it's better than the previous one, Dio versus Alucard? Nah, but do I think, as a lot of people on Duo's server saying it's perhaps the worst episode this season, or probably the worst Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat fight in general. No, it was a fun fight, and the analysis was funny. To me, I think it's a good episode. Just nothing really that makes me go, whoa, I want to watch this 30 more times. I will say as well, the death was actually a bit surprising. Like, Shao Kahn got his heart ripped out, and he got hit by the Raging Demon a little bit, and then he stopped the final hit. It's like, that was pretty sick. I did not see that coming. And
I admittedly do have a few issues with the ending.
Is it the jankiness?
Okay, yes, that. The Raging Demon felt kind of slow.
1 second.
Yeah, okay, yeah, to wrap up my point, it's like, yeah, it's a good episode. I don't really have anything of a highlight to say about it. So what do you mean by it being slow, though? I am curious.
I don't know, it's just like in Street Fighter 5, it seems like it goes but here it just felt slowed down. Like, you can actually see Akuma, like, moving in the darkness. Like, that's not really how you frame it. It's just like Flashy's on the other side doing the hit.
I feel like you can chalk that up to the animators and this being their second fight in Blender, and they probably still haven't gotten all the kinks worked out when it comes to on-the-ground, hand-to-hand combatants, because this team is usually more proficient and better when it comes to characters that have supernatural powers or magical attacks or sword combatants, whereas with these two, they're much more about the combat and not about the attacks with the K.
How's to get that in there?
Yeah,
That's cool.
By the way,
Also, there's a little...
you said blunder,
Like, I know...
Richard.
I said what?
You said blunder instead of blender.
I said Blender.
Okay,
It sounded like you're saying
Well,
blunder in
regardless.
the area.
if I may step in
No.
to talk about the death. Well, too bad.
Yeah.
Because I think I know why it was done the way it was done. It's because I think they were doing an homage to MK11 with their Fatal Blow system. Because Fatal Blows are slowed down compared to the X-rays in the older games.
That is true, actually.
They probably went with the style of a Fatal Blow before the Fatality.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, you also got to consider this is the MK11 model for Shao Kahn.
I mean, I don't think
Right.
I don't think models really ever play into how they want to do the animations. Like, for instance, even though they did sneak in Shao Kahn's MK9 X-ray on Kuma, which, by the way, that was probably another one of my favourite moments from the fight. So, I don't know, I just feel... I could definitely see, oh yeah, maybe it is a tribute to the Fatal Blows.
Yeah, but that's just what I think. I feel like that if it was done that way, then it was well done. If not, then maybe they might explain why it was done on their own time or in the commentary.
Maybe. Can I go ahead and talk about it?
I still have more to say about the ending, but alright.
Yeah, right, no, hold
Sorry,
on.
go
Let
ahead.
Let me finish.
Okay, I also can't help but think, okay, so Akuma died by just essentially getting pushed over.
But, what? No,
Wait.
he got his arm ripped off and then his head smashed in.
Yeah, after Shao
Yeah, but
Kahn
he's-
just, like, shoved him, and then pointing into
Yeah.
the hammer, bonk in the head, and that's it, he's out. Like, I don't know, it just seems a little weird, and... Speaking of weird, I know they said that Shao Kahn has survived having a hole punched into his chest. I've heard that he was immediately healed after that. Like, Shang Tsung had to start healing him immediately, otherwise he would have died.
No, there's been times he's survived wounds like that
So,
as well.
Like, no... Okay, but knowing what little I know, it just seems a little weird, and I want to call Shao Kahn out his flawless victory.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but no. Flawless victory is when you don't get hit. You got hit multiple times by Akuma, and you have a hole in your chest.
Okay.
Flawless victory, that was not. Good day, sir.
Yeah.
That, I believe, I believe the writers were trying to essentially.
I know it was a reference.
Play it in.
I know.
No, not a reference.
Just exaggerating
I mean,
that for comedic effect.
No,
I know, but no. What I really think it is it's playing into Shao Kahn's arrogance. Like
Exactly.
he's so up his own ass that he believes, like a few hits are nothing.
yeah.
It's still a flawless victory in his eyes.
I was getting ready to correct mate to be like, this is Shao Kahn we're talking about, the most arrogant character in all Mortal Kombat. Even when he's died multiple times, he still claims he is the superior out of everyone and he can never lose. Even in the future games, he goes on, I can never lose. It's like, dude, you've lost so many times to Liu Kang and Raiden.
To put it another way,
I'm actually aware
it's a
of this.
flesh
You didn't.
wound.
I'm actually perfectly aware with this. That whole exaggeration thing was meant to be a piss take.
I know, it's just like, well, it kind of makes sense why he would scream flawless victory, because he just thinks he's perfect, and it goes into his character.
I mean, his abs are perfect. I mean, what? What was that?
No, you can be as gay as you want. He does have some good abs.
Okay.
To be
good,
fair,
good.
Bill was like this with Doom for a little while.
I'm sure Sean will appreciate that reference.
I will
do,
just add,
actually.
I will add a few things I do like about the animation. So, okay, the voice acting for Akuma in particular. Holy crap, Philip, that was great.
Yes.
And it's honestly weird to think this is the guy who voiced Yoda.
I know, right?
Range is a killer thing to have in a voice actor.
Indeed.
Yeah. Also, okay, yeah, the transition from Akuma to Oni looks kind of goofy, but it's because they had to switch from the Tekken model to the Street Fighter 4 model, so it looks a little shorter and wider. When he transforms, it's weird, I know, but...
Wait, that was the Tekken model?
This is kind of a similar thing they did with Ryu versus Jin, in which Ryu's in like his Street Fighter 5 model, and then he's immediately in his Street Fighter 4 model, which looks a much more
when he goes
smoother.
for Ryu.
Yeah, I always found that kind of weird. Like, they even sometimes do that with sprites. I think in Ken versus Terry's sprites do change sometimes to like a different version of his game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I will just add, that moment after he transforms and it's all smoke, and you just see the light from Oni's eyes as he's growling and all that as he's filling with rage. I won't lie, that was legit terrifying.
Yeah, like the visuals in Blender are phenomenal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I will admit, actually, there is one thing I did not like about this fight was kind of the setting of the area. Like, Shao Kahn talks about, like, you interfere in my tournament, and it's like, what tournament? You're in the middle of a desert and there's no one here.
Yeah, also I won't lie, I kind of think the desert in Gara vs. Toph looked better than this desert.
Yeah, because initially when I saw the desert after a rewatch, I was thinking, well, maybe they're going with a reference to either Outworld or an MK9 stage, but that's overthinking it.
Yeah, I think
then
you're
why is
giving too much
Then
credit.
why is this thrown in the middle of nowhere?
Because I guess the script just said random ass desert, and they took that literally, and they just grabbed a random ass desert asset and used it.
Yeah, I can definitely... I mean, when it comes to using Source Filmmaker or Blender, or as Richard said it before, Blunder, yeah, a lot of...
I said Blender.
On my end, it sounds like you said blunder. That's why I was like, did he just say blunder?
Ladies,
maybe.
ladies, let's be civil.
Fuck no.
Or how about you get a better microphone? But continue.
Wait, you're the one
No,
with the
that would be-
microphone. That doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
you would have to get a better microphone by that logic.
Okay.
You don't hear things from a microphone.
Okay, yeah, back to the subject.
The desert was definitely out of place for this, especially when you realize Khan's in his goddamn throne.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
I mean, some of the environment they used a little bit with Akuma's acrobatic stuff, but it kind of felt random in a way.
Yeah, there wasn't that much interaction with this environment like previous MK fights we've had in the past.
Unless you count Akuma versus Shang Tsung, which they literally fought in the same room, in the same spot.
They did, but I don't count it. I'm
Cammy
talking about
versus
like
Sonya, they just fought in an airfield.
Yeah.
yeah.
And aside a
Well,
few
that had
explosions.
somewhat of a story. Was the thing with that one.
Yeah. I think my biggest problem with this fight, and to get down to the shortest version of it, this fight is kind of just above average at best. Like, animation-wise, it's just above average.
Nah, I think the
There
animation
wasn't
was-
really that much to hook me.
I mean, this is probably from my taste, because I never expect, like, a lot of things from Death Battle, because I know that, you know, they still got to work with a budget for a lot of their animators. But from what, you know, the D team managed to do, it was really good. I enjoyed the fight. I have watched it a few times afterwards to see any little Easter eggs and stuff like that. I haven't found any yet. And I do like the little references they do to each character. I even liked in the opening, which Kels actually pointed this out. Yeah, at first they start off fighting like a Street Fighter in a Mortal Kombat style game, even to the blocks and stuff, like mimicking their old school blocking animations. I was like, that's actually kind of a cute little reference.
Yeah, that's a thing I wouldn't get because, well, I don't Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat that much.
I don't
I just
Street
know of-
Fighter them.
You don't play.
No, I got the joke he was going for. I just love the way that sounds.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start using
Yeah,
it
like
from
I
now
don't
on.
play the games. I just know the lore through other Death Battles. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, references and Easter eggs are cool and all, but I think really what it comes down to is I look for entertainment and rewatchability, and not even comparing this to Dio versus Alucard, comparing this to Link versus Cloud or Yoda versus King Mickey, it's the weakest out of the three, because there really is nothing to keep me coming back. And this is also this team's second Blender fight, and I do appreciate that they were able to get done with the time constraints they had, and I really feel like they should be applauded for it, and everybody should not have expected them to pull off this grandiose masterpiece, especially when we're coming towards the tail end of the season. But Sean brought up a good point yesterday in our discussion. The fact that this is the weakest episode of the back half, I think it just proves how great this back half has been so far.
Yeah,
And
I mean, think about this. We've gotten Batman versus Iron Man, Zamasu as Goku Black versus Eobard Thawne,
I love that episode.
Yeah.
Macho Man versus Kool-Aid Man, Hit or Miss, really,
Yeah.
and Dio
Yeah.
versus Alucard.
Very
Also
good.
great.
Yeah. And, you know, we've got 3 matchups left that are probably going to be make or break for this back half, but I really feel like it's really just not this fight's fault. And I know nobody mentioned it, so I guess I'm going to mention it. I'm going to mention the Gianni in the room. I thought Gianni did an okay, serviceable job as Shao Kahn. It's not the dude's fault. He couldn't do a perfect Shao Kahn voice, so get the F off his ass.
I think he was a really
I'd like
good
to see
Shao
you do a
Kahn.
perfect Shao Kahn voice.
Especially if we're comparing, if this isn't like the Mortal Kombat 11 Shao Kahn, if you're comparing it to like the original Shao Kahn voice, and even a little bit of MK9, he was really good as Shao Kahn. I was like, that's a pretty good Shao Kahn voice.
Yeah, he didn't have like the tone, but he had the attitude and the mannerisms of Khan.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what would have helped him is maybe if they added a sound filter to kind of give him a deep bass voice.
Yeah, I was
But-
thinking about that too.
Because they did that for Akuma when he was in his Oni state, but they didn't do that for Khan until the very end, that is. So I really feel like had the sound engineers maybe tweaked it a little bit, it would have sounded even better to make up for the fact that Gianni can't do this type of voice. He's not the best imitator, as his performance as Nathan Drake will tell you, but he is good at giving great voiceovers.
Yeah, I think his
Can we
Nathan
also
Drake voice was a
give
bit, yeah.
A round. I'm gonna say, can we can we give Gianna a round of applause real quick? Because he finally got a win!
Yes, he did finally get a win.
He's no longer the new Sean Bean of Death Battle.
No, now that's
Congratulations.
Philip.
That's Chris Guerrero.
I mean,
Or
Philip's...
Or Marissa Lenti.
yeah.
Either or.
I mean,
I think Marissa's died more times in Death Battle than those guys.
battle royale between Marissa, Chris, and Philip. See who gets the win.
Just all their characters that they voiced.
Well, Marissa's probably gonna win because she voiced Bayonetta, for God's sakes.
That is true.
Nah, I think Gianni would win because of Lex.
No, we're not
No.
counting Gianni. He won.
Yeah, he won.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say maybe Philip because Yoda.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah, no, Philip would win. Because
Okay.
Yoda be busted.
Yeah. As powerful as Bayonetta is, I don't think she's beaten a Yoda, which is something I never thought I'd ever say.
Also, if we're like compositing, then okay, that's Yoda with the raging demon.
Can you imagine that for a second?
Oh
That's a
God.
lot more terrifying when I say it out loud.
Yeah.
It's just like 1,000 deaths, you shall die.
Yeah.
And death you shall die.
Oh god.
Dude,
What
imagine that Yoda laugh as he's punching the shit out of you with the raging demon, though.
Oh
good
God. Y'all have created a monster.
Do it just for shits and
Yes, we
giggles. I'm gonna have the thumbnail for this part of the discussion just be Yoda with red eyes and showing the symbol for the raging demon behind him.
I will say another thing that I want to bring up about the animation. I like the soundtrack with the fight itself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a serviceable one.
And for
I
Bill's
mean-
sake, we'll use the English translation, World of Murder.
Yes.
As
World of
Bill
Murder
goes-
wasn't that bad.
As Bill goes silent on me because he doesn't like the fact that he can't pronounce Japanese names.
What? No.
Okay, Bill. Happens to me too.
I was literally just letting you speak. Alright, screw you then. I'm muted your ass. You're muted now. Although I'm not sure if you're muted just
Just
for
throwing
me.
this out there. The soundtrack is called Satsui no Sekai.
But for purposes like this, we'll call it World of Murder.
I don't know, I feel like the way Mate says it is a lot better.
Because that's the Japanese version.
Everything sounds better in Japanese. Well, except
That's true.
maybe not child murder. I'm pretty sure that wouldn't sound good in Japanese.
Wow.
And Bill is getting us closer and closer to being canceled.
I mean, not child murder, child unalived.
Cue
Oh,
that
hey.
clip. Cue that clip from a live-action Scooby-Doo movie, where that monster's just on TV going, "Sorry, you're cancelled." That's
Looks like
such a good clip.
Looks like Robustcast may come out in the Deadpool after all. I mean, what?
Hey, regardless, the soundtrack with the fight was fantastic. By itself, it's okay.
It's not something that I'm gonna go back and listen to for the 5th time, but you know, the first 4 times I heard it, it was definitely alright. It's not Brandon's best, but you know, it definitely fit the aesthetic. There was great references to Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter in there, especially when Oni kicks in, and then it gets more aggressive.
But I don't know why. That was a very specific way to say it. Like, I'll watch it 4 times. Not 5 times, though. If I go over the 5 limit, you don't want to know what happens.
It becomes less memorable to me.
You're making
I
it.
guess that's fair.
You're making it sound like that whole. It's like a curse. Like if you listen to it 5 times, you're cursed for the rest of your life.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It definitely sounded, though, like... It makes me do wish that for this one, they could have just broken the rule and just used the Mortal Kombat song. The one we all know.
Okay.
But, you know,
God.
copyright.
You know,
Yeah.
that's something I really loved in the analysis. Just the Hey, cue the music, Wiz. Oh, we don't have the licensing right. Mortal Kombat! I must stop there so we don't get sued.
Yeah, I will say
That
as
was
well,
great. I love that.
I will say, like, this analysis was definitely their funniest that they've had this season. That's why I feel like I would put this above, like, a lot of episodes. And to your Animate's credit, I would not say this is the best 3D fight this season. Blake versus Mikasa is still up there as what I consider the best 3D fight this season.
It's a question. Why specifically me? But then you said that and I was like, oh, right.
Because I know if I know when I say Blake versus Mikasa, you give me the death stare. Even though I can't see your face, I can just picture you giving me, like, the death stare.
Well, that's the you thing, so, alright.
It's like,
For me, it's still Yoda versus King Mickey, but you know, hey, if the season finale turns out to be epic, as Liam is hyping it up to be, then who knows? Maybe that'll change.
Yeah.
the season finale, Batman versus Sans.
Alright, looks like I gotta call Animation Rewind. Looks like the suing is about to commence. What?
Wait, will he sue me?
Is that even
Wait, will he sue me or Death Battle?
Death
Just throw this
Battle?
out there. If that became a legit death battle, I'm not watching it.
Nah, I love Sans and Batman, but I wouldn't want to see them together. It's just, it doesn't make sense.
It's just
We... That would be nice.
Although, if you guys do end up doing that episode, Richard, I want royalties, you hear me?
I'll see what I can do.
He's not going to give
if
me royalties.
only we can stay on track.
Thank you, Sean.
We are staying on track, we're just having a bit of silliness added in.
Well, I feel like we're coming to the end of our discussion overall on Shao Kahn versus Akuma.
Yeah, I've
And
said my
as you
piece.
couldn't tell from the intro, we're tied again.
Yep.
Yes, you're tied.
And
You win some, you lose some.
not only that, Robust Cast actually got a fighting game battle right.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Apparently,
Yeah,
Apparently-
no joke. I went back and looked at all the fighting game versus fighting game episodes. This was either just covered on their podcast or wait, remember Probuscus predicting over the years. Yeah, they've not had the best track record.
yeah.
That's true.
I think it was they didn't get any right since what was it? Sub-Zero Glacius or Scorpion Ryu?
No, they got Sub v Glacius wrong. I remember that. They all went for Glacius.
I don't see how people would have gone for Glacius at the time. Still,
Yeah, like, I think I was even one of the few people that was like, Sub-Zero, man. Even though at the time I was a big Killer Instinct fan as well, I was like, nah, Glacius ain't killing Sub-Zero.
well, hey, let's take a round of applause and congratulate the Robust Cast on getting a fighting game fight right.
Yay! Just,
You give me a round of applause. I've been getting fighting game fights right before I even joined them, so, you know, I'm good.
I'm gonna just throw this out there. You went with geese as well.
yeah, I was gonna say, don't even
Actually,
try.
no, that's the misconception. I was just pretty much saying, frick it, I guess, geese, but in the long run, I really
Just
didn't
so
give
you
a
know.
shit.
Just so you know. I'm keeping track of who's calling fights right for reasons. I'm just strictly going over what is said in the podcast.
Also,
That's
Richard,
So
Fine.
if you
Also,
suddenly
Richard-
say, "Oh, I've changed my mind. I'm going with this person," not counting.
yeah, that doesn't.
For
Yeah.
example, in my reaction, I went with Shao Kahn after the analysis. Am I changing our overall score as a group? No.
Also, for the
Okay,
record,
I
Richard,
don't see
like,
what that has to do
your
anything, but
reasoning for
sure.
defending that, oh no, I was with Hayachi the whole time, I just went for geese just for the heck of it. I'm like, bullshit! don't try and slide your way out of that. Don't try and slide your way out of that. You got that episode wrong.
It's really true, though. I really was just, like,
No,
not
no,
interested,
no.
because I have never played Tekken, nor have I ever played King of Fighters. So, really, it's like, whoever won,
It still
I couldn't
counts.
care less.
You still went for
Regardless.
geese.
Of
Yes,
predictions.
Yes, regardless of that, thank you, Sean, for keeping everything on topic. You're so good at it.
Yeah, he's above average.
Now, bud. Just like my intelligence.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll
no, come
say
on,
I'll
stop.
say you're beyond above average on that one.
So, I'm gonna get my thoughts on Akuma versus Shao Kahn real quick because I was excited for this, and in a way, I think the fight lived up to what I was expecting. Was it perfect? No, but did I enjoy what they tried to do? Yeah.
Honestly, I say no death battle's perfect.
Yeah. Well, some have come close to being perfect.
Yeah,
I mean,
depends who you ask.
okay, I need to actually. I kind of want to throw my hands to this. What to you guys would be like a perfect death battle? Because, I mean, honestly, I'm not a perfectionist. I just look for something that entertains me, and if I can enjoy it more times if I watch it, then I guess to me that's perfect.
For me, it would be an interesting and fun debate, a great presentation of the analysis, animation, and a little sprinkle of personal stuff.
For
I
me,
would
it
have
kind of
to
comes down to like personal stuff. How the analysis are doesn't make me laugh, and I don't know, just how cool the fight is.
Well, I'm just gonna tell you right now, the perfect death battle of all time is Samurai Jack versus Afro Samurai. So there you go.
Oh, you wish.
I mean,
I do. I don't need to wish. It's true.
Bias in there, but whatever.
oh mate, like you're not biased to Blake versus Mikasa.
I'm
I
not
was gonna
denying
say.
that.
Okay, fair
Are
enough.
you?
No, he's.
I think overall,
He's not-
people are
what?
giving this. People are giving this episode a little bit too much hate, and I don't really understand why.
Well, I actually feel
I
like
thought
it's
it was
mostly
great.
people we socialize with, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, I think that's kind of the issue for, I think mostly me and Sean in this case, because I'm not sure if you two are on Duo server, or even like other servers.
I am.
From what I've
But I
heard,
don't.
nah, staying out of that.
But
I am, but I just don't give a crap because again, it's like I do agree with Sean. You know, like I do understand why people do not like this fight, but again, it's like give them some credit. They did the best they could with whatever time they had. That's really what I, try and look into these days. Everything is a double-edged sword. Not everything, when it comes to this team, is going to be perfect. You'll get a Link versus Cloud, but sometimes you'll get a Shao Kahn versus Akuma. The best you can do is just, work with what you got.
I thought you were
Hope
going to go
it's
to...
not a Batgirl versus Spider-Gwen.
That's
Yeah.
where I thought you were going. But
And
I gave my thoughts in this episode. Mate or Richard, do you guys want to give your final thoughts?
Pretty much more or less of what you said, Sean. I mean, I don't hate this episode. I'm not gonna put it in my top 5. It's probably gonna go at the near bottom. But I will say, again, I am looking forward to seeing this team do more in the future. So, there's that.
I feel like I enjoyed this episode overall. Especially finding out about the more ridiculous stuff about Akuma, like him just jumping into heaven.
Yeah, you didn't know
Okay.
you could do that?
Or, what was his name? Hakan getting oiled up enough to lock E Honda into space?
Yeah. By the way, when Boomstick pulled out all that oil and was like, get ready to launch, can we have a Wiz and Boomstick, like, sitcom show so I can see them do that?
yes,
Please.
I would pay
Well,
to watch that.
technically,
I want to see their
Technically-
antics when they're not working on Death Battle.
technically speaking, that's not oil, that's lube.
Oh god, that's worst.
It said it on the drum. That's lube.
Yeah, and Boomstick said oil.
That still doesn't change the fact that it's lube. So
I know.
So I hope
I'm
that lube
quoting
and
it,
oil.
okay?
I think he
I-
wants to
I
shoot
hope-
up a different type of space, if you know what I'm saying.
Bill, I thought we got rid of Keir. Why are you turning into him?
What have I become?
Anyway. And, well, I mean, it's not my favorite, like, fight of the season.
Of course.
And I don't know where I put it. Like, it's not, like, the bottom, but I'd say, like, around the high bottom, if that makes sense.
Oh, I get it.
So it's like in the third part of the bottom. Is what you're saying? Like third or fourth place.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like you might not. Do you think you might not like this episode as much as previous one because you're not really too familiar about these guys, aside what you've seen on Death Battle?
I think, yeah, that could be a factor. Like, you know, fighting game fans might notice, oh, there's this move, there's this combo. I don't do that much, so that's completely lost on me.
I like to think it would be funny for you to play a fighting game.
I have. It's called Cross Tag Battle. And
An
Smash
actual
Brothers.
fighting game like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter.
Hey, that game's alright. It's very simple. It's fun though. Hashtag
Yeah,
Richard.
they're fun.
Smash Brothers for the win.
Hashtag cancel Richard. He's mean to video games.
You can try and cancel me, but you never will.
I mean,
Don't
YouTube
give me a
succeeded at one point.
challenge. Don't give me a challenge.
YouTube tried and they failed.
I'm just holding up my phone, just getting ready to tweet. Hashtag.
Point that you and I were in a anonymous relationship in the past, and that we are now ready to confirm it.
No, I'll say like hashtag Richard brings up dead children on podcast.
That was you.
I could do
That
some
is a hot
editing and
take.
I could do some video game editing and stuff like that. I don't know what it has to do with video games,
You
but
sure
I'll
about
find a
that?
way.
Look,
So, next topic of conversation.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, y'all are taking hot takes at each other.